Hello, Jen here. I yeah, I'm not trusting my Facebook Live to stream this, so I'm just gonna record it on the old-fashioned YouTube. And and I'm outside on my roof, and I just think outside is a great place to read Mary Oliver poems. This is from her collection of poems called Devotions, which I read a poem a day until I finished it, and I highly recommend you read Mary Oliver every day. And I think she's really one of the most perfect poets to read in strange times like this. Now, I gotta say, I am outside in the middle of a borough, so we'll probably hear airplane noises, yard work, dogs, maybe even people outside talking. And I hope that's not too distracting. But I'm just gonna read, and it is what it is. So, first poem. Well, I should say some of them I just read an excerpt from, not the whole poem. So you'll have to just go and buy her book to see the rest of it. And I'm doing that just because there's favorite parts of different poems, and there's a lot, as you can maybe see, that I want to get to. So, here's part of a poem, the first stanza of The World I Live In. I have refused to live locked in the orderly house of reasons and proofs. The world I live in and believe in is wider than that. And anyway, what's wrong with maybe? Is called The Pond. August of another summer. And once again I am drinking the sun, and the lilies again are spread across the water. I know now what they want is to touch each other. I have not been here for many years, during which time I kept living my life, like the heron, who can only croak, who wishes he could sing. I wish I could sing. A little thanks from every throat would be appropriate. This is how it has been, and this is how it is. All my life I have been able to feel happiness, except whatever was not happiness, which I also remember. Each of us wears a shadow, but just now it is summer again, and I am watching the lilies bow to each other, then slide on the wind and the tug of desire, close, close to one another. So now, I'll turn and start for home, and who knows, maybe I'll be singing. This is called On Meditating, sort of. Who's honking? Really? You gotta be honking right at this moment. On meditating, sort of. Meditation, so I've heard, is best accomplished if you entertain a certain strict posture. Frankly, I prefer to just lounge under a tree. So why should I think I could ever be successful? Some days I fall asleep, or land in that even better place, half asleep, where the world, spring, summer, autumn, winter, flies through my mind in its hearty ascent and its uncompromising descent. So I just lie like that, while distance and time reveal their true attitudes. They never heard of me, and never will, or ever need to. Of course I wake up finally thinking, how wonderful to be who I am, made out of earth and water, my own thoughts, my own fingerprints, all that glorious, temporary stuff. Sorry whoever's doing yard work, but I'm just going to keep going. Hopefully it's not too annoying. Gonna lean in a little closer like those lilies she mentioned, though. Next poem is called Loneliness. I too have known loneliness. I too have known what it is to feel misunderstood, rejected, and suddenly not at all beautiful. O Mother Earth, your comfort is great. Your arms never withhold. It has saved my life to know this. Your rivers flowing, your roses opening in the morning. Oh, motions of tenderness. Thank you for stopping. Yes. Here's a little short one called 3 Things to Remember. As long as you're dancing, you can break the rules. Sometimes breaking the rules is just extending the rules. Sometimes there are no rules. I worried. I worried a lot. Will the garden grow? Will the rivers flow in the right direction? Will the earth turn as it was taught? And if not, how shall I correct it? Was I right? Was I wrong? Will I be forgiven? Can I do better? Will I ever be able to sing? Even the sparrows can do it, and I am, well, hopeless. Is my eyesight fading, or am I just imagining it? Am I going to get rheumatism, lockjaw, dementia? Finally I saw that worrying had come to nothing, and gave it up, and took my old body and went out into the morning and sang. This is one of my favorites. It's called Self-Portrait. You know, Mary Oliver loved dogs. In fact, she has a book of poems. She collected all the poems that she wrote about dogs, and there were many, into a book called Dog Songs, I believe. Buy it. Anyway, Self-Portrait. I wish I was 20 and in love with life and still full of beans. Onward, old legs. There are the long pale dunes on the other side. The roses are blooming and finding their labor no adversity to the spirit. Upward, old legs. There are the roses, and there is the sea shining like a song, like a body I want to touch. Though I'm not 20, and won't be again, but 70. And still in love with life, and still full of beans. This is called Lead. Here is a story to break your heart. Are you willing? This winter, the loons came to our harbor and died, one by one, of nothing we could see. A friend told me of one on the shore that lifted its head and opened the elegant beak and cried out in the long, sweet savoring of its life, which, if you have heard it, you know is a sacred thing, and for which, if you have not heard it, you had better hurry to where they still sing. And believe me, tell no one just where that is. The next morning, this loon, speckled and iridescent, and with a plan to fly home to some hidden lake, was dead on the shore. I tell you this to break your heart, by which I mean only that it break open and never close again to the rest of the world. Just sniffles. It's chilly. I am not sick. Hello, plane. How many planes fly around here anyway? Sheesh. I mean, evidently, I think that's the third one in this video so far. Okay. Another one of my favorites. They're all my favorites. This is called Why I Wake Early, from a book of the same title. Hello, sun on my face. Hello, you who make the morning and spread it over the fields and into the faces of the tulips and the nodding morning glories and into the windows of even the miserable and the crotchety, best preacher that ever was, dear star that just happens to be where you are in the universe, to keep us from ever darkness, to ease us with warm touching, to hold us in the great hands of light. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Watch now how I start the day in happiness, in kindness. This one's called When Death Comes. When death comes, like the hungry bear in autumn, when death comes and takes all the bright coins from his purse to buy me, and snaps the purse shut. When death comes, like the measles pox, when death comes, like an iceberg between the shoulder blades, I want to step through the door full of curiosity, wondering, what is it going to be like, that cottage of darkness? And therefore, I look upon everything as a brotherhood and a sisterhood. And I look upon time as no more than an idea. And I consider eternity as another possibility. And I think of each life as a flower, as common as a field daisy, and as singular. And each name a comfortable music in the mouth, tending as all music does towards silence. And each body a lion of courage and something precious to the earth. When it's over, I want to say, all my life I was a bride married to amazement. I was the bridegroom taking the world into my arms. When it's over, I don't want to wonder if I have made of my life something particular and real. I don't want to find myself sighing and frightened or full of argument. I don't want to end up simply having visited this world. Oh, it's a great one. There's a picture going around social media like Facebook of an owl. Like there's snow and you can see the the imprint of its wings and this sort of hole where its talons must have picked up a little rodent or something to eat. And anyway, I'm gonna wait just a second. Hope hope the pain passes. Hope the plane passes soon. White owl flies into and out of the field. Coming down out of the freezing sky with its depths of light like an angel or a Buddha with wings. It was beautiful and accurate, striking the snow and whatever was there with a force that left the imprint of the tips of its wings 5 feet apart and the grabbing thrust of its feet and the indentation of what had been running through the white valleys of the snow. And then it rose gracefully and flew back to the frozen marshes to lurk there like a little lighthouse in the blue shadows. So I thought, maybe death isn't darkness after all, but so much light wrapping itself around us as soft as feathers, that we are instantly weary of looking and looking and shut our eyes, not without amazement, and let ourselves be carried as through the translucence of mica to the river that is without the least dapple or shadow, that is nothing but light, scalding aortal light, in which we are washed and washed out of our bones. A couple more. Like 3. It's also one of my favorites. It's called One or Two Things. Don't bother me. I've just been born. The butterfly's looping flight carries it through the country of the leaves delicately and well enough to get it wherever it wants to go, wherever that is, stopping here and there to fuzzle the damp throats of flowers and the black mud. Up and down it swings, frenzied and aimless, and sometimes, for long, delicious moments, it is perfectly lazy, riding motionless in the breeze on the soft stalk of some ordinary flower. The god of dirt came up to me many times and said so many wise and delectable things. I lay on the grass, listening to his dog voice, crow voice, frog voice. Now, he said, and now, and never once mentioned forever, which has nevertheless always been like a sharp iron hoof in the center of my mind. One or two things are all you need to travel over the blue pond, over the deep roughage of the trees, and through the stiff flowers of lightning, some deep memory of pleasure, some cutting knowledge of pain. But to lift the hoof, for that you need an idea. For years and years I struggled just to love my life. And then the butterfly rose, weightless in the wind. Don't love your life too much, it said, and vanished into the world. Two more. This one's called Morning Poem. Every morning, the world is created. Under the orange sticks of the sun, the heaped ashes of the night turn into leaves again, and fasten themselves to the high branches, and the ponds appear like black cloth on which are painted islands of summer lilies. If it is your nature to be happy, you will swim away along the soft trails for hours, your imagination alighting everywhere. And if your spirit carries within it the thorn that is heavier than lead, if it's all you can do to keep on trudging, there is still somewhere deep within you a beast shouting that the earth is exactly what it wanted. Each pond with its blazing lilies is a prayer heard and answered lavishly every morning. Whether or not you have ever dared to be happy, whether or not you have ever dared to pray. One more. It's one of our most famous. It's called Wild Geese. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things. Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Sorry about the airplanes going over and stuff, horns honking and blah-biddy-blah. Please buy Mary Oliver books. I truly believe her, along with Emerson, ought to be required reading for every high school student. It should be required. They both should be required reading of everyone. But in this moment, I'm thinking especially of Mary Oliver, who passed away a year ago, maybe 2. She's a national treasure, a world treasure. Such an amazing poet and person. Okay, thank you for watching, and I'll try to make another video soon. Take care out there. Stay close to one another even while social distancing. Stay safe and healthy. Take care.